The journey is coming to a close. And after all the preparation, after the sprints, the drills, the time in the film room, the locker room, weight room, training room, after going through it all, there comes a time when there's nothing left to do. When we put it all on the line for all to see. And we see just how far we've come.
As far as preseason challenges go, they don't get any more significant than this. Tonight's game between the Chiefs and Titans brought to you by Missouri Lottery. Every ticket gives back to education. Play it forward with the Missouri Lottery. Chiefs quarterback Alex Smith coming out of the locker room with his game face on. The most extensive preseason game action awaits once he gets out on the field. Welcome to the broadcast booth. Thanks for being with us. Paul Burmeister alongside Trent Green. Trent, of the 43 days from the start of training camp until that first game against the Texans, can we call today the most significant one?
Well, it's definitely the most important. When you look at the approach that the coaches take and the players take, they're approaching this like a regular season game. The coaches are doing a small amount of game planning. The players are going to play well into the third quarter, so this carries a lot of significance when you start narrowing it down, getting ready for opening day against Houston.
All right, beginning with the offense, time now to take a look at the starting lineups brought to you by Sprint. And why not begin with Alex Smith?
Well, Alex Smith's put together over 60% completion in the preseason, but we had a chance to talk to him this week. He says there needs to be more consistency on the offensive side of the ball. That includes the running game as well as pushing the ball down the field in the passing game.
Offensive line needs to step up and be a little more consistent itself. The same names you didn't see last week, Eric Fisher, Jeff Allen, they will not play. This is the exact same starting lineup we saw against the Seahawks. As for the pass catchers, Travis Kelce, the #1 receiver last year. Maybe Jeremy Maclin will take that spot this season.
Well, and if you look at the other side, second-year pro Albert Wilson, an undrafted rookie a year ago out of Georgia State, cracked the starting lineup towards the end of the season. He put together some nice stats when you look at the fact that he didn't really get on the field until late in that season, but 14 of his 16 catches came in the final 6 games.
Well, a week ago, Trent, I stood right here next to you, and when it came time to talk about defense, I said they need to pick it up where they left in Arizona. Well, exact same thing applies after they kept the Seahawks out of the end zone the entire game a week ago. Starting defensive lineups brought to you by Sprint. Mike DeVito continues to come back from that torn Achilles, and Jay Howard continues to start for the injured Dontari Poe. First time in the preseason we see Tamba Hali playing in the preseason. We've seen a rookie play very well. Ramik Wilson leads this team in the preseason in tackles.
Well, in the talented tandem of Hali and Houston coming off the edges, you see they can flop from side to side, but where they do a good job of getting leverage on the offensive tackles. They get low, and that's able to push the tackles back. They both are consistent with their pressure, and if you look at over the last 2 seasons, Paul, they've led the National Football League with 50 sacks.
In the back end, mix of young and veteran play. The safeties, Hussein Abdullah, Ron Parker, flanked by the young guys, second-year corner Phillip Gaines, and this year's first-round selection, Marcus Peters. Coming up in moments, it's the marquee matchup of the preseason, Week 3, Chiefs and the Titans right after this. Welcome back to Arrowhead Stadium. Paul Burmeister, Trent Green in the booth. On the field, the third member of our team is B.J. Kissel.
Guys, the story of this preseason has been the return of safety Eric Berry. Now, I had a chance to talk with Chiefs coach Andy Reid as far as where they're at in bringing him along. Berry played 8 snaps in that first game against the Arizona Cardinals, 21 snaps last week against the Seahawks, and Reid said Berry breezed through those snaps. And they're at a point now where they're not worried about number of snaps. They just want to get him in within the flow of the game. So far, that's been in those heavy nickel and dime formations. Look for him to see some more action out on the field tonight.
And BJ Chiefs General Manager John Dorsey will be with us throughout the broadcast. It'll be interesting to get his take on the development of Eric Berry or the comeback. The weather not bad right now, 76 degrees. They are expecting the potential of thunderstorms to move through at some point in the second half. We are, of course, hopeful that does not happen. Pleasant right now, mid-70s. and a little bit of breeze. Tennessee won the toss. They deferred. Kansas City will receive. And back deep, Mal Davis has been a workhorse in the backfield. We'll see if he gets a chance to bring one out. Trent, your opening comments, you said there's a little bit of game planning that goes on in week one. How much game planning goes into this?
Well, we talked to Coach Reed, and he was mentioning the fact that they really want to script some of the first plays. They're still going to keep it very basic, but they want to script especially this opening drive.
Mal Davis thought about it from 9 3/4 deep. Here's what to watch, presented by University of Kansas Hospital, the official healthcare provider of the Chiefs.
And the first thing is first team offensive consistency. You talked earlier about the running game also balancing out with the pass game. Next man up performances because of injuries. There have been a lot of people getting experience, and then the consistent improvement of the rookies. Marcus Peters, you see right there on that play, but also Mitch Morris at center, Rameek Wilson at middle linebacker, and James O'Shaughnessy, the rookie tight end.
Alex Smith has as much preseason motivation as a veteran quarterback can have. Kansas City hasn't scored a first quarter point in 2 games. Last week in the first quarter, they went 8 plays for 8 total yards. Jamal Charles to his right. Quickly to Jeremy Maclin, see what he can do around the right side. Titans defense is there just as he crossed the 20, and that's a gain of 2.
Well, and that's exactly what I was talking about, Paul. When you talk about game planning, Andy Reid had mentioned getting the ball into Jeremy Maclin's hands sooner, giving him more opportunities to get touches. And Alex Smith touched on it as well. They need to get that chemistry, whether this is preseason game or not. You need to get that chemistry between quarterback and receiver. Coming out the first play of the game, getting the ball in Maclin's hands quickly on the wide receiver screen.
And that's a theme we've seen in game 1 and game 2 continue. The early effort, the first play effort to get the ball in the hands of Jeremy Maclin. And for the first time in 3 games, it worked. Back to the air and right back to Maclin. Good timing. Knocked out of bounds just before he picked up a first down. That's a gain of 7. Knocked out by Parrish Cox.
Pushed out of bounds by
Well, this play is just a quick out to Jeremy Maclin. Alex Smith recognizes the coverage is a soft coverage. The Tennessee Titans generally play a lot of cover 2, so they have that built in case the corners are soft. They can get the ball out of their hands quickly. 2 plays, 2 balls thrown towards Jeremy Maclin.
Actually a first down, so excellent start for the Chief offense. Doug Peterson, offensive coordinator, former NFL quarterback, been with Andy Reid as both a backup quarterback, as a quality control coach in Philadelphia, as a quarterback coach in Philadelphia. And Andy brought him here as the offensive coordinator. Right back to the air. And that's Ryan Taylor. Alex Smith starts out 3 for 3. And the Chiefs have another first down.
Well, and starting off the game with 3 consecutive passes, catching the Titans off a little bit. They're expecting runs, especially with Jamal Charles in the backfield. You can see the flow of the linebackers were all going that direction, and then they sneak out to the back. We saw that same play against Arizona in week 1 of the preseason when Alex Smith hit Travis Kelce, this time to Taylor for a big gain.
First down and 10 from just across the 40-yard line. Jamal Charles doesn't have a carry yet in the preseason. And there's his first. That's a good way to start. First carry, good for 9 yards. Nice hole off that left side before he's brought down by Zach Brown.
Well, and Stevenson and Grubbs are on the left side of the offensive line. You'll see them here. They're going to be the ones that create the lane for Jamal Charles to get through. Nice job of letting the blocks establish themselves and then creating space and having the explosion to get through there. As you mentioned, Paul, just his first carry.
First carry goes for 9 yards. Alex Smith off to an efficient start. 3 out of 3 for 21 yards. Right back to the air. Albert Wilson, first down to the 34-yard line. Smith to Wilson for 16.
Albert Wilson's only 5'9", and
that 16-yard
you talk about trying to find receivers. A lot of teams are going to the taller receivers. Albert Wilson coming over the middle, able to extend his hands, grasp the ball, and secure it. Gets up the field. He waves himself to get out, so hopefully he's okay. Looks like he's all right over on the sidelines.
Alex told me during the week his top priority was to avoid 3rd and long situations. Well, they're on the 34-yard line. They haven't faced a 3rd down yet. He's a perfect 4 for 4, and boy, That was actually his easiest toss yet to Travis Kelce, and it's his first incompletion.
Well, and I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt and say that ball got tipped as he was trying to throw it. He had someone in his face.
Down and 10 from the 34-yard
It'll be interesting on the replay here to see if the hand was put on it, because that's not typically a ball that Alex throws. You'll see the play fake coming to Jamal Charles. He sets up in the pocket. It appears that his hand can't really tell, but it was. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt, Paul.
We'll credit the home team here. That's Chris Connolly, rookie out of Georgia, just across the 30-yard line for a gain of 5. Good to see him involved. I know they love the potential. Now they want to see some production on the field.
Well, and it's good to see the ball get in his hands. You're right, and it's a little uncharacteristic at Tennessee. You can tell the respect they have for the Chiefs' running game and the respect they have for Jamal Charles. As I mentioned a few plays ago, they generally play a lot of cover 2 and play a shell. But because of the running game, you end up stacking another guy in the box to take away the run. You play the corner soft. Go ahead and take those yards. Get him into a manageable. You just mentioned a second ago staying out of 3rd and long, and that's what Alex did with that completion on 2nd down.
3rd down and 5. Smith sets up. Jeremy Maclin has it inside the 10. Touchdown, Chiefs.
Touchdown, Chiefs. Excellent job by Alex Smith with the throw. I'm not going to lie to you, Paul. I thought that was a little dangerous. I saw the corner undercut it, and I was a little scared. Maclin does a good job of separating.
29-yard touchdown pass from
Cox
Alex
is in
Smith
position to make the play, but he doesn't get his head around to locate the ball. Maclin keeping his feet in bounds and tiptoeing down the sidelines. Difficult pass for Alex Smith as there was pressure coming off the left side. He had to pull up and make that throw. It's nice to see that connection once again.
Jeremy Maclin had 10 touchdown receptions last year as an Eagle, and now has 2 in the preseason as a Chief. And we have a missed extra points.
No good. The score, Chiefs.
Alex Smith 6 out of 7 on the opening drive. Jeremy Maclin 3 receptions. The final one ends up in the end zone. One drive later, Kansas City leads by 6. Game is brought to you by DraftKings.com, the daily fantasy sports destination. Bud Light, stay in the game and drink responsibly. The Kansas City Steak Company, taste, it matters. Hy-Vee, where there's a helpful smile in every aisle. And by Missouri Lottery. Every ticket gives back to education. Play it forward with the Missouri Lottery. Couldn't have gone a whole lot better for the Chiefs offense. First drive, 8 plays, 80 yards. It ends with a touchdown pass from Alex Smith to Jeremy Maclin. Extra point, no good. 11-12 left, and Kansas City on top, 6-0.
Very efficient drive. You can see early on, talk about game planning in this 3rd preseason game. They came out quickly, threw the ball to Maclin the first 2 snaps, and that was the point of that drive, is getting the ball in Macklin's hand. And as we saw in the touchdown reception, get it in his hands, good things happen because of that speed up the sidelines.
I mentioned when Alex Smith ran out on the field, probably his top goal, in addition to keeping the 3rd downs manageable, which he told us during the week. Get some points on the board in the first quarter. That's the first time the Chiefs have done that this preseason. Now for the keys to the game, presented by Overland Park Auto Group.
Well, and the first one's going to start off with the defense. You need to pressure quarterback Marcus Mariota. He's completing 75% in the preseason and only has been sacked 1 time. Second time, contained Dexter McCluster. Chiefs fans know him all too well. Keep him contained in the return game. And then offensively get the run going, which we saw a little bit as Jamal Charles got his first carries of the preseason.
It's Trent, going to be exciting to put our eyes on what has been one of the top stories. You just consider buzz around the NFL. The top 2 quarterbacks, first pick and second, Jameis Winston and Marcus Mariota, both getting their careers, I know it's preseason, off to a nice start. And Mariota struggled early against Atlanta, came back and was strong the rest of game 1, and went 5 for 8 last week against St. Louis. And as Trent mentioned, completing 75% of his passes already. And that's Bishop Sankey off the left side, the 2nd round pick from last year, 6-yard gain.
The Chiefs defense was very efficient a week ago in stopping the run of Seattle. That was a problem area for the defense a year ago.
2nd down and 4 from the 26-yard line.
Bob Sutton, the defensive coordinator, getting a look at him right there. that's a focal point of this. And when you have a rookie quarterback, you know that Wisenhunt is going to try and have that balance, not putting all the pressure on Mariota to throw it through the air, but have that balance with the run game.
Bishop Sankey, the top running back selected last year, has it for the second play in a row, cuts it back. He's brought down right at the first down marker by Ramik Wilson, the rookie out of Georgia, who leads the team in tackles this preseason.
He was tackled by Ramik Wilson.
Chiefs have several defenders down inside that box, down within that 7-yard area.
On the 29-yard line. It's
The Titans were still able to push the pile a little bit, make it to a 3rd and under 1 yard.
3rd down and short. Justin Houston, the left end. Tamba Hali, the right end. The Chiefs stack that line of scrimmage. Too close to call right now. Justin Houston in on the tackle. And it looks like it's just enough for a Titans first down.
Well, and ideally, Paul, obviously you'd like to make that stop. But that's a situation that you very rarely can duplicate in training camp anymore because of the rules of training camp. Those live short yardage and goal line situations, when it's 3rd and short, you have all the big bodies. Everybody knows it's going to be a short run up the middle. You're trying to push the pile. Those are great reps to get in the preseason because of the limited hitting that goes on in training camp anymore.
That was former Chief Dexter McCluster motioning out to the left side. Mariota to the air for the first time. Plenty of time, and credit the Chiefs' coverage there, as nobody was open.
Marcus Mariota's pass is incomplete.
Well, I'd like to say it was the amount of pressure that Mariota was under, but that time clock went off in his head. You start holding that ball too long in the pocket. There was no one open. He continued to look on this right side of the field. He wasn't very deceptive with where he was trying to go with the ball. Peter's in excellent position, undercutting that route, having help from the safety over the top, and nowhere to place that ball.
Mariota comes in completing 75%, starts out 0 for 1, and now faces 2nd down 10. Sankey off the left side. Chiefs defense there. That's Mike DeVito to make the stop. Holds him to a gain of 2.
Well, and based off what the Titans have done here the first few plays of this drive, don't be surprised if as this develops they start running some bootlegs just because of Mariota's ability to use his legs with the way they've run the ball here the first few times. Look for them to give a play fake, and similar to what Alex Smith did, run a bootleg out of it just to get him outside in space.
3rd down and 8. Eric Berry now in at safety.
It won't happen here on 3rd down, but as the game is going on 1st and 2nd down.
Normally a blitz down for Bob Sutton. Chiefs bring 4. Mariota eludes the pressure out near a first down, but stopped a yard short.
Marcus Mariota, the ball carrier.
Abdullah from his safety spot up to make the tackle after Mariota picked up 7.
Well, and Sutton drew up a little confusion here. You can see 77 Catapano dropping out into coverage, blitzing the linebackers. But Catapano, you'll see him flash into your screen here from the right. Thinks he has a good shot at an open field tackle, and not realizing the speed of Mariota.
From the 40-yard line.
Talk about situations you can't replicate in practice now with some of the rules. Here's one right here. 4th down and short, less than a yard. And the Chiefs defense calls timeout. Andy Reid, Bob Sutton will talk it over with the defense. We're back with 7:37 left right after this. 4th down and less than a yard. The Tennessee Titans almost at the Kansas City 41, choosing to go for it here. Moments ago on 3rd down and less than a yard, they converted. We'll see what they come up with here on 4th down.
Well, I think this is an opportunity. We talked a minute ago about game situations. You have a rookie quarterback in a 4th down situation. The Chiefs just drove 80 yards to score. I think they're using this as an opportunity for them to work on the hard count, the dead call where you're trying to get the defense offside. Go ahead and take the penalty and punt it away. We'll see what happens.
Or actually go for it, Antonio Andrews. Had enough, the penalty marker going to rule that one out.
Procedure on Tennessee.
False start, number 80, offense, 5-yard penalty, still 4th down.
Number 80, a familiar name to Chief players and fans, Anthony Fasano. costing his team 5 yards, and the punt team will come out.
Well, like I said, I was anticipating the opposite. I thought it would be a good situation. They had the confidence in the run game, and we're going to go for it. They're running off that left side. If you think about the number of runs they've had, the majority of them have been to that left side of their offensive line.
Frankie Hammond Jr. back deep to receive the punt for the Chiefs. Andy Reid telling us from the preseason, talented, intelligent kid, and oh, by the way, he's an excellent punt returner as well. Couple of moves there. He goes Hammond around the left side. Pretty return by Frankie Hammond Jr. Offense puts 6 points on the board. The first possession. We'll see what they do on the second possession. See if Jeremy Maclin can stay hot. The day after every Chiefs win, get 50% off regular menu price online orders using promo code KCChiefs at papajohns.com. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's, the official pizza partner of the Kansas City Chiefs. Alex Smith started out 6 out of 7 for 71 yards and a touch, and after he told us during the week his 2 interceptions against the Cardinals and the Seahawks were inexcusable. It's a good way to put that memory far back in his mind.
It's a good way to come out, get that first drive right down the field, get the bad taste out of your mouth.
Jamal Charles, the tailback to his left. Setting up the screen to Jamal. Blocks in front of him. Chiefs offense continues to click. First down, Chiefs gain of 12.
Going back to that first drive now, Jeremy Maclin was definitely in the game plan. First play, quick screen, and you're going to get a couple of out routes. The second one coming right over the top of Parrish Cox for the touchdown as he keeps his feet in bounds. 6 completions for Alex Smith on that first drive, 3 of them to Jeremy Maclin. And of course, starting off this drive with his 7th completion to Jamal Charles on the screen for the first down.
Remember the screens and the underneath last week in Seattle in the beginning didn't go that well. 3rd down and long. It's a little different when you do it on first down. There's Jamal Charles with his 3rd touch of the evening, his 2nd run. Has the 1 reception. That time he picks up 3. Albert Wilson, 2nd-year wide receiver, has a shoulder injury, and his return is questionable.
And that must have been on the catch over the middle when we saw him wave to the sideline after the catch. So good play on his part. Unfortunately, he doesn't look like we'll see him the rest of the game.
See if Chris Conley, number 17, the rookie out of Georgia, can take advantage of the increased amount of reps there with Albert Wilson out. 2nd down 8. Smith wants Charles, waits for him. He gets out to the 38.
Smith pass complete to Jamal Charles.
And the Chiefs pick up 3. Happy to welcome to the booth Chiefs General Manager John Dorsey. John, good to see you. How you doing?
It's always a pleasure. Thank you. Good to see you, Trent. Good to see you.
Good to see you as well.
Pretty easy to smile when the offense goes 80 yards right away, huh?
It's kind of nice from the first series when you can execute. That's the one thing that you wanted to see, and I love Andy's play selections, what he did, and then it's the execution is kind of what you wanted to see the first series.
Execution was there on all levels: the O-line, the quarterback, the receivers, the back. As the GM, when you watched all that success, what stood out to you the most?
Well, it's the thing that, you know what, the balls that Alex threw, everybody caught them. The offensive line did their job in terms of protection. They executed, and that's kind of what you look for in these types of situations.
Tackled by Zach Brown. That 5-yard completion good for a Kansas City Chiefs.
That was Smith to Maclin. Smith making a play, picking up 5.
1st and 10 Chiefs. From the
Chiefs offense continued to move down the field. A lot of people talking about the offensive line here in Kansas City. John, what's your assessment of what's happening with a couple of injuries, and also as you guys look for cohesion and production? And Jamal Charles, what a night he's had inside the 20 for another KC first down, gain of 14.
Well, as I look at this, we do have, we have Jeff down, we have Eric down. And then that gives you a chance for your younger guys to step in there and kind of show the coaching staff and show myself, what they can do in situations like this. Last week, as I saw Laurent Duvernay-Tardif get his first, there were some great moments there, and there were some moments that he needed to improve on. And when you take Paul, Faneka, that's the first time he's played at the tackle situation, but he held up nice, and as you see in this second drive here, they're holding up on the right side very well.
Well, the last play was a big run for Jamal Charles. It was a counter where you had Ben Grubbs pulling from the left side, leading through in the hole on the counter play. Talk about your decision to trade for Ben Grubbs and bring him in and what he brings to this group.
Well, I didn't think, really, it was a no-brainer. I mean, when you can acquire a player of Ben's magnitude, he's a two-time Pro Bowler. He's played on championship teams. And you can instill a veteran like that. And what he's brought to this, he's brought stability to that unit. And he's showing these younger guys, this is kind of how you do it. And they've kind of bought into that. And, I'm very pleased with that addition.
Alex Smith now 10 for 11, 100 yards. The Chiefs knocking on the scoring door once again. Smith back to the air. There's Macklin again. Inside the 9-yard line. We've seen a real focus on getting him the football, and he's been open quite a bit this evening. You probably spent a lot of time in the offseason picturing how Jeremy would look in this offense. Now that you've seen it a few times, what stands out to you?
It was a no-brainer. It was a natural fit. It's very rarely in these situations you get a young guy in free agency that knows the offense. He comes in here, he knows what he's doing. He's a great kid. He's a flawless route runner. He's got deceptively deep speed. He's got wonderful hands. And to me, it was a natural fit, and it gave us a guy who could stretch the field.
Now Davis, now the tailback to the left of Alex Smith. Pass heavy again. Plenty of time for Alex Smith. Back in the end zone. Wanted Frankie Hammond Jr. Incomplete. There is a penalty marker on the 10-yard line.
Frankie Hammond Jr.
66. Offense. 10-yard penalty. Still first down.
Well, and that was taking a little bit of time to develop, and Alex was hanging on the ball trying to get it to the back of the end zone. Switching to the defensive side of the ball, one of the biggest signings of the offseason was getting Justin Houston done. Talk a little bit about how that all came together and how happy you are to have Justin in the fold for many years to come.
Well, he's one of our core players, and what we have told the guys all along in this process, if you play at a high level, we're gonna reward you. And and I've always preached patience with regards to this. It was going to take a time because of a player of his magnitude. This deal wasn't going to happen overnight. And at the end of the day, patience on both sides. Both sides got this thing done. And it's just, I love Justin. I love his attitude. I love his approach. And he means a lot to his teammates. And, I'm just happy that he's going to be a Chief for a long time to come.
Well, it's a win-win for both sides. If you look at it, Justin gets the security, and the team gets the security of knowing that their defensive leader is going to be in place for a while.
Exactly, and and he's so. People tend to forget he's a young man, and he's got a lot of good football ahead of him, and to me, he's one of the true leaders of this team.
Well, and staying on the defensive side of the ball, the draft of Marcus Peters, just what he's brought, not only to the secondary, but to that entire group on the defensive side.
He's a very good player. What we did is we did extensive research in terms of some of the character issues everybody talked about. He's not a malicious kid. He's a really good kid. He's competitive by no means. So we went out there. We went out to Oakland. We met his family. We saw his environment. We talked to his teammates. He's coming here. He's bought into everything that we have asked him to do. I think Emmett and Al have done a wonderful job with him. As you can see, his play in the first 3 preseason games, he hasn't missed a beat. What I love about him is he's got such great eyes, and he's got such wonderful awareness in terms of being able to read a receiver's routes. He's not afraid to tackle and run support, and he catches the ball when it's thrown in his direction.
3rd and goal from the 14. That's Nile Davis inside the 5, down close to the 2-yard line. And that's a gain of 11. Alex Smith now 13 out of 15. Highly efficient night. And Santos on to attempt a field goal, which is going to be shorter than the extra point that he missed a little bit early in the evening. Before we let you go, John, since this is such an important game, the most important game of the preseason, how do you treat this in terms of watching the film the next couple days?
Well, I think this is a tough week, as well as next week, because anytime you have to tell young men, who have given their sweat equity, who have done everything that you have asked for them, you go, you guys, it's not going to happen. So, it's hard.
Still trying to get over that one, John. It came 20 years ago. John Dorsey, General Manager of the Chiefs. Thanks for your time, John.
Thank you, anytime.
We're back right after. Chiefs put together another scoring drive, 11 plays, 54 yards. This one ends in a field goal, so with 1:16 left. Alex Smith in the offense. Have the Chiefs on top 9-0. Paul Burmeister, Trent Green in the booth. B.J. Kissel, Jillian Carroll on the sideline, and the Chiefs with a 9-0 lead. Came into this game failing to score in the first quarter, the first two preseason games, and they've scored on both drives already. Jacoby Ford brings it out to the 17-yard line, and that's where the Titans offense, led by Marcus Mariota, will begin. We're back to Arrowhead right after this. The season home opener is just around the corner. Do you have your tickets? Chiefs season tickets and limited single game tickets are still available. Visit Chiefs.com/tickets or call 888-99-CHIEFS to get yours today. Fans here at Arrowhead have to like what they see so far. The Chiefs offense has scored on both of its possessions. Chiefs defense held up against Marcus Mariota in their first possession. Now they're back on the field for the second time. Mariota remains a quarterback. Bishop Sankey, second-year tailback, to his left. Mariota keeps it himself and just kind of glides around that left side, and that's a gain of 14.
You know, you hear about Mariota's speed, and so you see him in the open field. He clicks it into another gear.
First and 10 Titans from the Tennessee.
It's really, you say glide, he's got some deceptive speed.
He
really
does. Yeah. Kind of looks to me a little bit. He's not as thick as Russell Wilson, but it's the same thing. He appears like he's going three-quarters speed, but he's really moving faster than most of the people out there. Bishop Sankey, the tailback, on first down at the 30-yard line. Play action touch pass. Underthrown as first-round pick Marcus Peters provided the coverage for Kansas City. Delaney Walker, the intended receiver for the Titans.
He was covered by
when Marcus Peters gets beat on this route, see the receiver was at the end of the line of scrimmage. He just runs a wheel route.
Second down and 10.
Ball's a little bit underthrown. Tennessee's looking for the pass interference call as Peters doesn't turn around as the ball comes in.
It's a look from our Bud Light Hypermo. Delaney Walker likes it in Tennessee. Last two seasons, 10 touchdowns and 123 receptions. Chiefs defense led by Justin Houston. No gain.
Jay Howard with tremendous penetration. Getting up the middle and getting to the backfield. See him with the push there, 96. Jay Howard is the one that causes the collision in the backfield, and with Justin Houston collapsing from the backside, able to make the tackle for little gain.
Jay Howard says he's comfortable back in nose tackle, the same position he played in college at Florida. First quarter in the books. It's been a good one for the Chiefs on offense and defense. Defense pitching a shutout. Offense has had two drives, both scoring. It's 9-0. Back to Arrowhead, 9-0. Andy Reid's Chiefs on top as we begin the second quarter. Tonight's game brought to you by Missouri Lottery. Every ticket gives back to education. Play it forward with the Missouri Lottery. Kansas City offense getting it done in the passing game. Alex Smith, 13 out of 15 for 118 yards. That looks good no matter what, but especially when you line it up to what Marcus Mariota has done. Titans 0 passing yards in that first quarter. They could use some passing here facing third down and 10.
Well, Tamba Ali out of the game, but D Ford on one edge, Justin Houston on the other, third and long. Look for both of them to come in hard off the edge.
Penalty marker thrown, nearly intercepted by Derek Johnson.
And they got a holding on Taylor Lewin, the left tackle, grabbing D Ford.
Personal foul, grabs him in the face mask, number 77, offense. That penalty's declined. Fourth down.
Keep an eye on D Ford right here coming off the edge. Lewin just gets his left hand up in his face mask. I don't know what he was so upset about, Paul. He's screaming and yelling at the official after that play was made. He not only had the face mask, he had the face mask for about 3 seconds.
Yeah, a lot of times they'll get that hand stuck in the face mask and pull it back out right away. And he, as you mentioned,
he kept it going.
Had a good pull in there on it. Frankie Hammond Jr. backed up inside his 10 to the 7. And brings it back out to the 18-yard line. Tackle made by Bo Brinkley. Let's check in on the sideline for the first time tonight with Jillian Carroll.
Thanks, Paul. The Chiefs Pro Shop and shop.chiefs.com have the latest in Chiefs gear for men, women, teens, and children. My favorite line, of course, the women's line, has new pieces that are stylish, modern, and versatile enough for any occasion. Be sure to check out shop.chiefs.com. Guys?
All right, Jillian, thank you. Alex Smith back out on the field. It's been a productive first couple series for him, 13 out of 15. Touchdown pass.
1st and 10, Kansas City from the Chiefs.
And both of the scoring drives, or both drives, led to points. First one, a touchdown pass to Jeremy Maclin. Second one ended in a field goal. This is the first time he's been out of the field in the second quarter. Smith with time and has Jeremy Maclin again right at the 30-yard line for a gain of 11. That combination is working tonight.
Maclin just running up and running a 12-yard curl route. Alex actually uses his eyes. You see that underneath coverage that went running out to the left. Alex used his eyes to draw the defense out there. Charkandrick West was the running back that was in. As he's had a good preseason, they're giving him more and more reps, and now he's getting opportunity with the first unit offense. Maclin now 7 catches for 65 yards and his second touchdown in the preseason. There's West off the right side, showing a burst to get out across the 30. Brought down by Avery Williamson. He picks up 2. And with the success that Jamal Charles had early on in this game, he may be done for the night. It may be one of those ones where, hey, we're going to get you a few touches. All right, you're still Jamal. We're going to let you rest it up and give Niall Davis a load, and as I said, Charkandrick West has had an excellent preseason, giving him some opportunities with this #1 offense. The thing he's had to learn to grow with is the pass protection part of it, so the confidence that they must have in him to put him in this situation. West with his 21st carry of the preseason, the leading rusher for Kansas City so far.
Charkandrick West on the carry.
And West picks up 7.
Coming right towards us, you see Fanica and Tardif over on that right side. Fanica keeping the pressure on the outside edge and giving West the ability to turn the corner. Putting us into that manageable 3rd down you were talking about, Paul.
And there are plenty of running backs who don't make it in the NFL, not because they can't run the ball, Trent, but because of what you mentioned. They don't earn the trust of the quarterback and the offensive coordinator in pass protection. 3rd down and 1. And West cuts it back, and there's some second effort to pick up a KC first down. Contact made well before the line of scrimmage, but he fights his way to 4.
This is a crack block by the tight end. Travis Kelce will go in motion as he comes back towards the line of scrimmage. He seals the edge, but West with the spin move to get out of the arm tackle keeps his feet going. That's what you have to prove to your coaches. If you want to have that trust to get these opportunities, making plays like that on a key 3rd down to keep the drive alive.
I heard a coach once say about running backs, sometimes you got to bring your own blocker. You got to make it happen yourself. Alex Smith, Travis Kelce, another Kansas City first down. If Kelce saw West fight for extra yardage, he does it himself. And that's a Kansas City gain of 34.
Well, Travis Kelce, after having such a big season a year ago, here he's going outside. I want you to watch as this play unfolds, the security he has with the football. Look how he has that football high and tight. He keeps it up underneath his shoulder pads. A year ago, he had some issues with fumbling after contact down the field, and that was one of the things we've talked to him about, is he wanted to have more ball security after the catch to prevent those fumbles.
Tennessee is challenging the ruling on the field that the runner did not step out of bounds.
We'll see if the 34-yard gain stands. 11:56 left until halftime. Chiefs up by 9. Travis Kelce thought he had a 34-yard reception. Tennessee challenging that play because they believe he stepped out of bounds right there. And here's the call.
After reviewing the play, the ruling on the field stands. Tennessee will be charged with a first team timeout.
As close as one can get to stepping out of bounds without actually stepping out of bounds.
Well, and Walt Coleman, there was really no way you could overturn that. If you look at the replay that appears to show his right foot stepping out, it's at such an angle that you can't tell. Now, you can't see green between it, but it's not right on the sideline to know if he actually stepped out or not. This is the angle you're going to see. You're going to see his right foot hit the ground on this next step. And this is the one that gives the appearance of being out of bounds, but you can't confirm it. So if you can't confirm it, then you got to stick with what was called.
First down from the 23. Charkandrick West cuts it back, doesn't get back to the 20-yard line. Tackle made by Mount. Andy Reid told us a couple weeks ago, Trent, we were talking to him before the first game about the tailbacks. Of course, you know all about Jamal Charles, but we've seen a heavy dose of Niall Davis and Charkandrick West. He said, you're going to like them because they each bring a little something different to the table. And West and Davis have now combined for 36 carries in the preseason. We've all gotten a pretty good taste for the kind of talent they have.
Well, and that's the thing. You're going to get reps in the preseason, and you know, it was interesting to, as you talk to the young players and as you're getting more and more reps and what's going to unfold during the preseason, it's about taking quality reps as well.
Smith takes a shot to the rookie, Chris Conley, who draws the penalty flag.
Pass interference, number 24, defense. Ball will be placed at the spot of the foul. First down.
Trent, even more so than when you were playing, it's never a bad idea to take a shot because it's so many rules that are helping the offense now.
Well, and you see a lot of these back shoulder throws and these jump balls when you notice the one-on-one. Down here at the bottom of your screen, they're going to call contact with the ball in the air. And anytime you get past that 5-yard range, the officials are going to take notice. You can't have contact. There was that initial bump, but then they kept contact as they were running down the field. Nice decision by Alex to put that ball up. You know, it's been called a lot these last few years.
First down and goal from just inside the 10. Smith to Kelce, touchdown.
Appears like the Chiefs are going to go for 2. You want to talk about efficient quarterback play? Watch the placement of this pass that Alex Smith puts on Travis Kelce. He sees the defender squeezing from the inside. He knows the defender is on his back hip. The only place you can put this ball to protect your receiver is on the body. If he extends him at all, that's either going to be a major collision by Kelce or the ball is going to pop up in the air and potentially be an interception. So that is the only place that ball can go. It allows the receiver to catch it, protect themselves, and in Kelce's case, be able to backpedal and spin into the end zone.
We've been complimenting Alex Smith. We should also pay a big compliment to the offensive line. We've been concerned about him the last couple of games, and Alex has had plenty of time to scan the field this evening. Charkandrick West for 2. He's got it.
And Paul, you just mentioned that offensive line, especially under a lot of criticism, is the right side of the offensive line. Going over to Duvernay Tardif and Fanica is where this 2-point play goes.
Alex Smith has 2 touchdown passes, and Charkandrick West has a 2-point conversion. Chiefs up by 17. DraftKings.com is the daily fantasy sports destination. Use promo code Chiefs to play for a shot at $2 million in the Week 1 Millionaire Maker. Go to DraftKings.com today. Saw Chase Daniel hold up 2 fingers there. He said, you only have 2 incompletions, and you're 16 for 18.
Well, I'm sitting here looking at the stats. Time of possession is 13.5 minutes to 5.5 minutes. Passing yards is 171 to 0. First down is 13 first downs to 2. So pretty dominant performance by the Chiefs so far.
Jacoby Ford run out of bounds by Anthony Sherman.
First touchdown is tremendous touch to Jeremy Maclin over the top of the defender. Second touchdown on the body to Travis Kelce to where he can spin in. And Charkandrick West following that right side of the offensive line. Also have to mention Ben Grubbs pulling once again on that counter footwork, getting in the end zone for 2 points to give the Chiefs that 17-0 lead.
It's the kind of start that'll make you forget about only one touchdown drive in the previous 8 in a hurry in the most important preseason game they have. 3 drives, all 3 leading to points, and a 17-point lead. Marcus Mariota looking for that first completion. He's got it. Kendall Wright, former first-round pick, has a Titans first down.
Well, in the first passing yardage of the night for the Titans, Tamahali's back in the game. You would think with a 17-0 game right now, it's not the regular season, but you still want to get into some kind of rhythm offensively, and Titans could decide to start airing it out a little bit more than what they've done the first couple of series.
Bishop Sankey fumbles, and the Titans recover.
And as well as the defense for the Chiefs played a year ago, one of the areas of concern is creating turnovers. They weren't very efficient or very good for that matter in creating turnovers. This time the ball gets on the ground.
Second down and 5 from the Tennessee 37-yard line.
It's interesting, with as well as they rushed the quarterback last year, that the Chiefs only created 14 turnovers, which was 30th in the NFL. You don't expect that when you also have the defensive end or outside linebacker who led the league in sacks.
That's right. And I believe only four of those 14 were interceptions.
Timeout in the field with the Chiefs leading by 17. Chiefs on top 17-0. 9:34 left until halftime. Paul Burmeister and Trent Green in the booth. B.J. Kissel and Jillian Carroll on the sideline, and the Chiefs getting it done both sides of the ball on the field. Alex Smith has led 3 scoring drives. He's 16 out of 18, 171 yards, 2 touchdowns. He's completed the ball to seven different pass catchers, backs, tight ends, receivers. And the defense picking right up where it left off against the Seahawks when they didn't allow that team into the end zone a week ago. And pitching a shutout right now, almost halfway through the second quarter. Dexter McCluster, former Chief, picking up a Titans first down out to the 46-yard line. Pick up a 9.
Just as we mentioned, the offensive side of the ball has done some game planning. You saw that especially in that first drive, getting the ball in Jeremy Maclin's hands. The defense is doing the same thing. We've seen some combinations of pressure that they've used with the linebackers and the up front, some zone blitzes, as we pointed out, some of the defensive linemen dropping out. So they've tried mixing some things up on the defensive side as well.
And the defensive success really goes back to that first game after they struggled to get off to a good start. They went 8 consecutive possessions without allowing the Cardinals to score a point either. Marcus Mariota with time. Touch to a wide open Kendall Wright, the former first-round pick.
Mariota's pass complete to Kendall Wright.
Shoved out of bounds after a gain of 30.
Kendall Wright will be coming from this side of the field, working over into this zone.
Titans at the Kansas City 24-yard line.
You see the clear out by the front side receiver running a deep corner route to take the safety in the corner out of there, and Derek Johnson's trying to drop back in that zone, but as a wide receiver hitting that window in that 25-yard depth, that's a tough task for any linebacker to get that deep, especially against a wide receiver.
First down and 10, Titans from the 24-yard line.
Flag on the play.
Delay of the game. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
Trent, I had the chance to talk to Alex Smith during the week, and I threw out as a final question. I said, I know that you're buried in what you're doing here. family at home, but have you paid any attention to how Marcus Mariota is getting off to a good start for the Titans? And his response was interesting. He said, you know what, when I came out 11 years ago, I'd never been under center. I hadn't played with a tight end. The NFL now is much more willing to allow the college offenses that the quarterback had success in to bleed into what they do in the NFL, as we see Mariota get outside the pocket. And brought down after a gain of 1. He said it used to be black and white. Either you played an NFL offense or you didn't. Now it's a little more gray where they allow you to do what you did at the level before.
Well, and give a lot of credit to Ken Wisenhunt being able to be flexible with that offense. That's not something he did when he was the head coach of Arizona in the offense that he ran last year with Mettenberger. So having that flexibility, understanding what your rookie quarterback can do. But it's interesting you bring up Alex Smith, obviously being able to feel some of the same things that Marcus Mariota is going through. Early round, high round pick. The pressures of being a starter right away and adjusting to the NFL game.
Second down, 14. Justin Houston almost got there. Kendall Wright has a first down, so we saw Mariota making it happen outside the pocket. There he looked like a pocket NFL quarterback, letting it go just before he got hit.
Well, this is coming from Mariota's blind side. You'll see Houston coming off the edge here. It's not his blind side, but he's looking to that left side, not aware that Justin's about ready to lay down the hit. Good accuracy standing in the pocket by Mariota.
Bishop Sankey off the right side, brought down at the 10-yard line. And a tackle made by the rookie who leads this team in tackles in the preseason. That's Ramik Wilson.
Outstanding preseason by Ramik Wilson. Called into duty because of the injury to Josh Mauga. As you said, leading the team in tackles throughout the preseason. See there, a size 6'2", 237, but he's got the speed to go sideline to sideline. He's got the size there at 237 to be able to plug up inside. Done an outstanding job so far this preseason.
Mariota 3 for 3 for 60 yards on this drive. Stands in, another completion. And this one down to the 3-yard line. That's veteran Hakeem Nicks.
Mariota's pass complete to Hakeem Nicks.
Gain of 7. Let's go down and check in with BJ.
Had a chance to talk with Chiefs veteran linebacker Derek Johnson about Ramik Wilson and his other rookie linebacker DJ Alexander. And DJ actually told me they remind him of himself when he first came into the league. Those are big words from an all-timer like Derek Johnson, but that can't be a bad thing.
Compared to Derek Johnson inside this facility, pretty good thing.
That's good company.
Third down and 1, Antonio Andrews, the tailback behind Mariota. Couple of penalty markers come in.
Full start, number 70, offense, 5-yard penalty, still third down.
And that'll bring up third down from 5 yards back, and the Titans need to get just inside the 3-yard line to keep this one
See
moving.
right there the helmet move of Warmack.
From the 7-yard line.
It always cracks me up to see the defenders. You guys see Justin Houston there waving his arms around. Just in case the official didn't see it, he wanted to point it out. But this could change the play call. You know, on 3rd and short, you could try throwing the ball down there knowing that you're going to go for it on 4th down. Now with 3rd and longer, it eliminates some of that surprise.
Chiefs only rush 3. And Justin Houston gets there.
Marcus Mariota may want to settle down a little bit before he decides to jump up and start chasing after Justin Houston. One of the guys on the defensive side of the ball that can chase him down. You'll see Houston down here. He's going to keep outside contained. Watch the closing speed that he uses. Mariota has an issue with the way Justin Houston finishes this play. There's going to be a lot worse than that come the regular season, so he's probably just frustrated not getting in the end zone.
Familiar name to Chiefs fans. Ryan Suckup from 34 yards out. It's good. We do have 2 penalty markers down.
12 men on the defense. That penalties decline. Field goal is good.
So former Chief Ryan Suckup has a field goal. The Tennessee Titans finally have some points. They trail by 14. Justin Houston, sack of the rookie quarterback, Mariota. Justin Houston with a sack of Marcus Mariota to bring that Titans drive to a halt. Ryan Suckup field goal makes it 17-3, Kansas City.
Niall Davis.
That's Mike Meyer out of the University of Iowa in to kick off. And Niall Davis deep for the Chiefs.
I knew you couldn't go a telecast without bringing up Iowa, Paul.
We're just looking down here and seeing a familiar name. Davis from 8 yards deep. He gets out to the 16-yard line. Let's take a look at the high V drive of the half. And when you have 3 scoring drives, you got some room to work with here. But Jeremy Maclin and Alex Smith off to an excellent start this evening. Jamal Charles' first carry of the preseason goes for a first down. Albert Wilson is left with a shoulder injury, but picked up those yards before he left. And here's your first touchdown of the night, Smith to Maclin. And the offensive line, the reshuffled, reworked offensive line playing very well. And Andy Reid has seen enough out of Alex Smith, and why not? 16 out of 18, couple of touchdown passes. Aaron Murray, the third string quarterback, in for the first time. And looking for the all-Georgia connection to the rookie, Chris Conley, incomplete.
And you may be wondering why Aaron Murray is going in the game before Chase Daniel. Next week in the 4th preseason game, Andy Reid has traditionally sat the starting quarterback, in this case Alex Smith, so Chase would be looking to get the start next week and probably play a good 3 quarters, at least into that second half, is what he traditionally has done. So maybe trying to get Aaron Murray some work here with some guys he doesn't get a lot of work with for all intents and purposes.
To pass again, this time it's complete. There's the Bulldog connection. Murray to Conley. Gain of 13. What's your assessment of Murray, second season in?
Well, I think he looks a lot more comfortable. I think if you talk about last season, coming off of that knee injury, that ACL injury he had at the end of his college season. So this year he's able to play without the brace. You can see that knee does not have that big cumbersome brace on it. I know that makes a difference for him. He's moving around better. He's stronger, not spending as much time with the rehab part of it. And I think with the one offseason underneath his belt, he has a better grasp of the offense.
Directing traffic by an extra time and firing the interception. Parrish Cox with the pick, still on his feet. And Parrish Cox with the interception of Aaron Murray returns it in a roundabout kind of way down to the 43-yard line.
Well, and unfortunately for a young quarterback, trying to make a play, trying to make an impression, get an opportunity to play with some of the 1s and 2s still on the field, and sometimes you can try doing too much. And as you learn, floating the ball down the middle of the field late, very dangerous because lots of bad things can happen. Having a defender in your face, not being able to follow through and get that ball down. As I said, floating the ball in the middle, generally a lot of bad things happen, Paul.
So Aaron Murray, 1 completion, 1 incompletion, and then the interception to end his first drive. We expected Alex Smith to go into the 3rd quarter, but nobody expected the offense to be clicking quite that well. And he gets an early seat. Marcus Mariota back out there. Completion to the former Chief, Dexter McCluster, and he has a Tennessee first down.
Well, going back one more time to the offense, just Aaron Murray have an opportunity. You know, that first offensive line was in there, give him some time in the pocket, get some big bodies in there, as opposed to, you know, as a 3rd quarterback, a lot of times when you get in the game late in the game, you know, you're with the other 3rd string guys, and so you run around a little bit. This time having an opportunity to work with some other guys, and unfortunately the interception happened, but he's going to have plenty of snaps throughout the rest of this game.
McCluster fights his way out across the 25-yard line. Tackle made by who else? Ramik Wilson.
and the Chiefs defense still has the majority of their starters still on the field. This is a quick change situation. When turnovers happen, the defense not expecting to go out on the field right away. This is another thing that you talk about and you try and get done in practice, but it's different at game speed.
Back shoulder fade from Mariota falls incomplete. Number 22, the first round pick out of Washington, Marcus Peters.
And Paul, you hear it continuously around the league from other teams talking about situational offense and situational defense, and this is one of those.
2-minute warning arrives with Kansas City leading 17-3. Coming up on the 65 TPT halftime report, voice of the Chiefs, Mitch Holthus, and defensive coordinator Bob Sutton discuss the progress the defensive unit has made in the offseason and the preseason. And we'll take a look back at how the late Derek Thomas took the NFL by storm in the early 90s, rushing the quarterback all the way to the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Chiefs veteran defensive lineman Mike DeVito on the sideline. Trent has mentioned most of the starters still out there. Mike on the sideline, he has a stinger, and his return is questionable. Marcus Mariota started this game 0 for 3 ever since, 5 out of 6 for 80 yards. And this is 3rd down and 4. He stays hot, and the Titans keep the chains moving. Hakeem Nicks, his second catch tonight. And he's brought down by Jamel Fleming. Nicks, the former first-round pick of the Giants, spent time with the Colts, and now here trying to make the Titans roster.
Well, and that's one of those rub routes that offenses like to do. You get the guys going vertical and the guy on your outside coming underneath, and Fleming really had to bubble over the other defenders to catch up.
Dexter McCluster down to the 8-yard line, gain of 3, tackle made by Justin Houston.
Last time Tennessee was down inside the 10, they had the procedure penalty on their right guard.
Chiefs defense didn't allow a touchdown from the Seahawk offense last week. They've yet to allow a touchdown tonight. And Dexter McCluster looking to end that, gets inside the 5, and he's at the 3-yard line. Ron Parker with the tackle. The second time here in the second quarter we've seen Mariota kind of stand in against the blitz and not let him throw it off. Still throwing accurately, still throwing on time.
Well, the impressive part is he knew where to go with that football. He recognized that the Chiefs defense was in man-to-man coverage and they were bringing pressure, so he knew the matchup that he wanted to get to with Dexter McCluster matched up one-on-one in the slot, going to the flat quickly, get the ball out of your hands and alleviate that pressure.
First down and goal, Antonio Andrews, the tailback. Penalty marker comes in as Andrews goes into the end zone.
They didn't blow the whistle, so that generally means it's on the defense.
Onside, defense, number 92, lined up in the neutral zone. A penalty's declined, touchdown.
Your penalty game is strong this preseason, Trent.
So far, so good.
Antonio Andrews into the end zone, giving the Titans their first touchdown of the night, but it's actually their second consecutive scoring drive. And
I think there's a couple guys that could have called it on. Looked like their helmets were in that neutral zone.
So Mariota, after a slow start where he went 0 for 3, has kind of come alive here in the second quarter. 7 for his last 8 for 99 yards. And it was 17-0 moments ago. Now it's 17-10. And the Titans offense turns the Aaron Murray interception into their first touchdown of the night. Earlier this week, major goings on here at Arrowhead. Trent, have you heard about this? The fantasy camp? Oh my gosh, there he is. Look at Trent.
Yeah, look at that pass protection. Plenty of time there.
Good decision, laying off underneath.
Time.
Let's see what you
look
do
at
here.
that. Look, nimble feet. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Oh, I got sacked.
Oh, and you were not happy about it either.
I got sacked. I wasn't. Oh, you know what? It was great, though. We had a lot of people come out and take part in the fantasy camp. They got to experience meetings. They got their own locker. They got introduced by Mitch Holthus. Lots of fun that was had, and ultimately finished up with a 7-on-7 game. But You know, let's go back a little bit earlier in this game. After this kick, we're going to get to something special, not necessarily from the fantasy camp.
Special.
Yes, yes. I see you sweating over there, but don't worry, Paul. We're going to save you till later in the game.
I noticed
this is something right.
You had a quick segue, so I couldn't follow up on any of that. Put a button on the fantasy camp before I could have some fun with that.
That's right. So earlier in the game, it's tough being a sideline reporter. Keep an eye here. It's one thing, you know, to be able to handle a hit and everything else, but now you come jumping out of the game. This is the quickness there. He almost pulled a quad, BJ did, trying to get out of the way there. That play was nowhere near him. He didn't have to jump out of there like that.
I've got quick feet, Trent. Don't worry about me down here. I'll take care of myself. I'm good.
You had your eye on the ball, though. That's good. You didn't get blindsided. You've seen plenty of sideline people get blown up because they weren't paying attention.
If Trent would have moved like that, he could have avoided the sack.
That's right.
That's
right.
Sarkandrick West, the ball carrier. Gain of 3 as we are inside a minute. 36-35 and counting. Gain of 3 yards on the play. Chiefs offense came out on fire this evening. Alex Smith only has 2 incompletions. He's 16 out of 18. Also has 2 touchdown passes. And the Chiefs race to a 17-0 lead. It's now 17-10. And there is a little bit of a difference between the play clock and the game clock, and that allows the clock to go to zeros. That's the end of the first half. The score, Chiefs 17, Titans 10. We're back with the 65 TPT halftime program. After the break, you're watching Chiefs preseason football. Paul Burmeister and Trent Green in the booth. And Trent, the Kansas City offense scored the first 3 times it touched the ball.
Very efficient first half for quarterback Alex Smith, 16 of 18. Including 2 touchdown passes. One we just saw to Macklin, the second one there to Kelsey, and then the 2-point conversion by Sarkandrick West. Have to say about that offensive line, great job by the offensive line, not getting Alex Smith sacked at all.
Time to take a look at the game summary brought to you by Farmland Foods. Farmland, passion for pork since 1959. Well, Trent, plenty of praise to go around. You talked about the offensive line and also Alex Smith a little bit. Who's at the top of the list in terms of who performed the best in that first half?
Well, I think you have to talk about Jeremy Macklin. You know, the combination of Alex Smith and Jeremy Macklin has been talked about all offseason since Jeremy Macklin was brought in, and I think they made a concerted effort to get him involved quickly. We saw the touchdown pass, but he was utilized other times during that drive as well. And then Jamal Charles getting touches for him for the first time this preseason.
Jeremy Macklin came in with 4 catches in the first 2 games total. And as you can see, 7 catches, 65 yards, and a touchdown, the first touchdown of the night, to put an exclamation point on the first drive. Chase Daniel going to keep that baseball hat on. That's the plan, correct, Trent? Is Aaron Murray likely to go the rest of the way?
Well, you would think so, but you never know. It's, you know, they like changing things up, and sometimes as a head coach, you like putting your young quarterbacks in tough situations just to see how they respond. So.
Titans will begin from the 23-yard line. BJ Kissel spoke to Andy Reid a while ago. BJ, what'd you learn?
Guys, when I talked to Coach Reid going into halftime, he was obviously encouraged by what he saw from the first-team offense with Alex Smith. He liked the way they executed. Now, defensively, he said they've got to tackle better. It's something he wants to see in the second half. And you guys are right, Aaron Murray will play out the entire second half.
All right, BJ, thank you. And Aaron got to play a little bit at the end of the first half and threw that interception that led to Titans points. And a quarterback change for Tennessee as well. This is Zach Mettenberger, who, like Mariota, has had an excellent preseason. He comes into this game 15 out of 20 and starts 0 for 1. We showed you the offensive highlights, Trent. The defense had plenty of highlights too.
Well, that first team defense, once again, really kept things hemmed in for Marcus Mariota. He didn't have a completion until later in the second quarter, actually, before he got his first completion. Put pressure on him. Justin Houston bringing him down and getting the sack back in the line of scrimmage. And
really keeping them out of the end zone, which is something they've done most of this preseason.
It's good to see Tamba Hali out there playing for the first time this preseason. Saw him sitting there next to Justin Houston, and there's former Chief Dexter McCluster almost out to the 25-yard line. That's DJ Alexander with the tackle. Gain of 2.
When you mentioned Mettenberger being in the game for the Titans, he had an opportunity to start. His 6th-round pick a year ago had an opportunity to start some games. He's a different quarterback than what Mariota is in terms of the mobility part. So defensively, the defensive players for the Chiefs can understand that Mettenberger wants to stay in the pocket more than Mariota does.
Titans were 2 out of 6 converting 3rd downs in the first half, and this is a 3rd down and 8. Plenty of time for Mettenberger underneath. And that's a 1st down Titans. Chase Kaufman, former all-conference performer and All-American to many at Missouri. He's been the leading receiver for the Titans so far in the preseason, and he picks up 10.
Well, and this could be a good fit for Chase, getting an opportunity to play here in Nashville. And he's been on a couple of rosters around the league. He's right here from the area. And as you said, leading the Titans in receiving so far this preseason.
1st down Tennessee as Mettenberger has the Titans on the move on their first possession of the 2nd half. Flips it out to Dexter McCluster. And McCluster has another Titan 1st down. He's in the Chief territory.
Mettenberger's pass complete to Dexter.
And that's a gain of 17. So we talked to John Dorsey about it in the 1st half, and the unfortunate part of the preseason coming up. Cut down date September 1st. They got to get down to 75 players, and then the major cut on the 5th down to 53.
Yeah, there'll be 15 players that are cut here in the next few days, and then as you said, Paul, you look at 22 cuts have to be made in that 2nd set of cuts. So, injuries come into it. Which guys do you have to put on IR? Which guys do you ultimately try and get on the practice squad? And those are some of the tough decisions that John Dorsey and Andy Reid have to make here in the coming few days.
Chiefs defense almost made a play in the backfield. That's David Fluellen.
Will Brown, the ball carrier.
And the first conversation the two of us had as we take a look at some tough running here. First conversation we had about the preseason, you said, this is a team at multiple positions that they're going to be cutting some quality players this year.
Well, and that's the biggest difference. You look at the 3 years under the John Dorsey and Andy Reid regime is the quality and depth that they have in training camp. Whereas those first year and even last year, some of the guys they were cutting weren't being picked up on other rosters. Now this year you have some quality players that, if they're not going to be here in Kansas City, will end up on other rosters.
Mettenberger's showing the arm strength, but lacking the touch and accuracy there. Incomplete to Jacoby Ford. Marcus Peters, the 1st-round selection, number 22. All smiles. Next to 23, 2nd-year man Phillip Gaines. And if the Chiefs defense is going to be good in September, these two got to step up in a big way.
Well, they will have to, and right now Sean Smith is on the field. Projected starter, has to sit out a couple of games early in the season. But as you said, early on, tough start to the schedule for the Chiefs, and they will be relying on 2 young players in Gaines and Peters.
Zach Mettenberger facing 3rd down and 9 as the Chiefs bring 4. Stands in. Is that an incomplete pass or a fumble? Incomplete. Chase Kaufman almost held on long enough. Eric Berry with the coverage.
Well, I think the fans got riled up as much as anything. I think they realized it was an incomplete pass, but I think the fact that it was Eric Berry that picked it up and was on the return got everybody revved up pretty good in here. He never has control of the football before it comes out.
Chris Connolly back deep to receive. We had the break with the Chiefs up 7. We mentioned the role that Eric Berry played in the play we just saw before break. We got to point out Tyvon Branch. He's the one who knocked the ball loose there and forced Chase Kaufman to cough it up before he even had possession. So Tyvon Branch, the former Raider, comes in and makes that play. Really the one that gave the ball back to the Chiefs. Lots of options, a lot of talent there at the safety position.
Well, and that is one of the positions. You know, they brought Tyvon Branch in because they weren't real sure what was going to happen with Eric Berry, his ability to get back, and Ron Parker was re-signed in the offseason, so there's a lot of depth in that secondary for Kansas City, and there'll be some tough decisions come cut time.
Jarkandrick West takes the handoff from Aaron Murray, who played a series in that first half through an interception that led to Tennessee touchdown, and West picks up 3.
Well, it goes without saying, Paul, that a lot of those backup positions in the secondary depends on how well you play special teams also. You know, how do you cover punts? How do you get down and cover kickoffs? How do you block on the outside for punt return? So those are some of the tough decisions that Dave Tobe will be a part of, as well as Bob Sutton and, you know, with Andy Reid and John Dorsey.
Second down 7, Murray to the air, and that's Frankie Hammond Jr. just across the 15-yard line. And the way I picture those meetings, and I've not been in a cut down meeting, but at some point, whether it's early in the conversation or late, Dave Tobe has to have a big voice when they're getting down to those final guys. He probably says, you know what, I need that guy for kickoff, or you know what, you can set him free. He's not much help to me.
Well, and to make things even harder, you know, you got the cap guy in the room too, and you got to figure out,
right?
You got to start figuring out dollars and cents and how much cap room you need to have left, and you know, you have to have a pool there so if guys get hurt, you can go out and try and get a replacement. So there's a lot of things that go into it, that final decision.
3rd down and 2. Murray going to keep it himself. First down. Guess that knee's feeling pretty well, huh?
That's exactly what I was thinking. It looks like that knee's feeling pretty well. He's strong. He's got good range of motion and nice little burst there. You see a smile from Alex Smith. And even Chase got a little excited. They're waiting for the replay. You saw him looking up high, anticipating the replay.
The knee is even part of the discussion because if you know the Aaron Murray story, he tore his ACL after becoming the all-time leading passer in the SEC in November of 2013. Drafted by the Chiefs last year anyway, and last year kind of a process to get back to 100%. And it looks like he's feeling good now. Out of the backfield, nice catch by West. Second-year man out of Abilene Christian. The good grab picks up 2 yards.
And I can't stress how hard of a catch that is. That's a tremendous catch. You're running away from the quarterback, yet the pass is coming low. So you're trying to take your speed and your weight and everything in the one direction, yet the ball is dying the other direction. Incredible concentration by West to not let that ball hit the ground.
Caught the top half, the top third, maybe the top quarter. That's a tough catch.
The more we look at it, the more difficult it gets. It's a tremendous job bringing it in.
Caught the ball 71 times in college. There's Fred Williams. Another Kansas City first down. He picks up 9.
Well, and it's good to see Fred Williams get in the mix. Remember how big of a game he had that first week against Arizona, matched up with Chase Daniel.
That 10-yard completion good.
Even picked up a touchdown reception in that first game, and now getting his hands on the ball and able to convert a big first down.
Fred Williams, Frankie Hammond Jr., the top 2 receivers in the preseason so far. I'm going to put the GM hat on you. If only one of those guys gets to stay on the active roster.
That's why I'm glad I'm not making that. I'm glad I'm not making that decision.
You can say you like them both.
You know, if you're making me pick one, I would say Hammond Jr. because he's been involved on the special teams. He's been a part of the return game. So
and he just helped you out there by making a tough catch.
But I would try and find a way to keep both of them.
Right, and that's what I was going to say. I mean, there's a chance you keep them both.
15-yard completion good for a Kansas City Chiefs.
Here on the replay, Hammond Jr. just getting to the inside there, finding that zone between the 2 linebackers and sitting down in front of the safety. Excellent throw by Murray. Hammond Jr. securing that ball before he takes the big shot.
That was a look from our Bud Light Hypermo. Out of the backfield again, and this time it's Darren Reeves. Good cut back to avoid going out of bounds. And the Chiefs flexing their muscles at tailback. That's their 4th tailback. Staying in bounds and picking up 5.
That's the old drop the snap, pick it up, drop back, throw it over the linebacker's hand onto the swing because you just want to get the ball out of your hands. You weren't able to look downfield because you were picking the snap up off the ground, and next thing you know, you pick up 5 yards.
And I will say, Trent, to back up and put a cap on the discussion about Hammond Jr. and Fred Williams, when we listened to Andy Reid talk about those two a couple weeks ago, it didn't sound like he wanted to get rid of either one.
I would say based on their performance in the preseason, you need to try and find a way to keep them both.
And that's West back in the game. He picks up 3.
Well, now we're starting to see some of the backups coming in. We had an opportunity to see Aaron Murray with the starting offensive line. They didn't leave the game in the first half when Alex Smith came out, and now some of the backups are in. Eric Cush is in at center. You see Zach Fulton out there. Derek Sherrod at right tackle. So bringing in another wave of players to get an evaluation on.
Aaron Murray 5 for 5 in this drive. Is now 6 out of 6. That's a first down, Sharkhandrick West. So that's been a theme on this drive, to the right and the left, hitting the back out of the backfield, and West picks up 10 right there.
This is a play. If you pick up the defenses in a man-to-man, you're going to watch West is going to come out of the backfield here. You see they're in a man-to-man or a read zone. You can seal the edge when you have a misdirection. Cush getting out in space after he snaps the ball and sealing that to the inside so Sharkhandrick West can get outside and pick up another first down for the Chiefs.
And with West leading the way, Murray responding well after that late first half interception. 6 out of 6 on this drive for 48 yards. Makes it 7 out of 7 for another Chief first down. That's Ryan Taylor, the backup tight end. He picks up 15.
Good hard play fake here. Connolly is on the outside. He's clearing things out on the outside, and Taylor just running a layered route where you have your outside receiver running deep, your tight end running the out route. Murray's excited about that completion, big completion up the field to get a first and goal inside the 10.
7 for 7, 63 yards. The success continues for Murray. First and goal from the 9. West, can he get to the pylon? There's a penalty marker down as he cut it just inside the 5-yard line. Brought down by Marquestin Huff. 2 penalty markers on the play.
Holding, number 82, offense. 10-yard penalty, still first down.
Ryan Taylor goes from the 15-yard reception to the man charged with the foul.
He's over on the left side here. You'll see him as he's trying to seal the edge. He and O'Shaughnessy have a double team. Taylor's trying to set things to the inside, thinking the run is going to go to the inside. But then once West bounces it outside, the defender tries to peel off and gets called for the grab.
Chiefs searching for some reliable depth there behind Travis Kelce at tight end. Murray looking to go 7 for 7 on this drive. Gets the help of another nice catch by Frankie Hammond Jr., his second inside of Titans territory on this drive.
Gain of 5 yards on the way.
See Sharkhandrick West stepping up and picking up the linebacker blitz. Murray realizing he's got to get the ball out of his hands quickly because he has one-on-ones across the board. You mentioned it, Paul. That's a difficult catch as well.
That was a look from our Bud Light Hypermo. Aaron Murray, just like the starter Alex Smith, only 2 incompletions tonight. Moving to his left. Chris Conley. Again, the Georgia to Georgia connection inside the 5-yard line this time for a gain of 12.
He was pushed out of bounds by Fleet Wooten.
This is a tough throw as a right-handed quarterback.
Got it done in the SEC. Aaron Murray, the all-time leading passer in that conference, and Chris Conley on the receiving end of a lot of that success. 1,900 receiving yards he had at Georgia. This is 3rd down and goal, or 3rd down and 2. West has a completion but did not get the first down. Damon Stafford with the tackle.
Tackled by Jermaine Thomas.
Murray dealing with a lot of pressure.
Loss of 3 yards on the play.
Took a shot. Delivered an accurate ball. Titans were just in position to make the tally and rally and make the tackle.
3-yard attempt.
Or tally.
Tally could
I
work
did
in
both.
there.
Yeah. Rally for the tackle or tally. Yeah.
Santos 1 for 1 on field goals, made one from 21, and this is from 23 yards out. Did miss an extra point, and just snuck that one inside. 2:40 left in the 3rd quarter. Chiefs doubling up on the Titans. Garmin invites you to check out the Garmin Verb XE. The HD action camera with G-Metrix performance sensor overlays. Shoot with the action camera the Chiefs use. I'm telling you, Trent, you need one of these for your backyard.
You know, that'd be a lot of fun. That's running around doing whatever you're doing, whether you're playing sports with the kids or on a bike ride, or not a whole lot of surfing going on in my family, or snow skiing, but you could use it for all those things.
Being who you are inside this building, you can probably get a pretty good deal on one of those here, right?
We'll see.
Aaron Murray on that drive, 9 for 9, 68 yards, led to a Santos field goal to make it 20-10 at Chiefs. KCD will be on the field right after the break. Welcome back to Arrowhead. 2:40 left in the 3rd quarter. Chiefs on top of the Titans, 20-10. Our Jillian Carroll on the sideline with a familiar face to all Chiefs fans.
Thanks, Paul. That's right. We have Christian Okoye here. Christian, welcome back to Arrowhead. It's so nice to have you here. What brought you back to Kansas City?
Well, I came back for the Chiefs fantasy camp that we had on Wednesday.
Was it a good time? I heard that you and Trent had a heated battle.
Yeah, we did, and I won.
Very good, very good. Well, you're part of a huge Chiefs tradition here. Your name is here on the Ring of Honor. What is it like to come back and relive some of the memories that you've had right here at Arrowhead Stadium?
You know, this place is electric. Every time I come back, of course, seeing my name up there with a bunch of other great Chiefs players, it just gives me a great pride to come back.
And another name we'll likely see up on the Ring of Honor one day is Jamal Charles, the now Chiefs all-time leading rusher.
Yeah.
How would you evaluate him as a runner?
Well, Charles is a shifty runner. He's a shifty runner, and that really works for him. He's really fast. He's a smaller guy than I am, so that works for him real well.
You look like you're still in pretty good shape, like you could hop back on the field.
I wish I can go back and play.
Well, Jamal is clearly a key weapon in Andy Reid's offense. Do you think that he could handle Marty Ball?
Yes, I think, because thinking about LT in San Diego, when Marty was coaching in San Diego, he was very good in Marty's offense. So I think Charles will be good too, yeah.
I think he's got a bright future ahead of him, obviously. We're happy he's a Chief. Thank you so much for your time today. It's always nice to have you back here.
Well, thank you for having me. Thank you.
Guys.
Christian, Jillian, thank you very much. And I think if Jamal had those shoulder pads that Christian wore, that he could play in any offense. Remember those?
You can see that right there. AFC Offensive Player of the Year, 2-time Pro Bowler, 4th in club history. Jillian was right on point. If you see this, I'm glad the 7-on-7 we were playing was flag football, because if it was tackle, we had no chance.
3rd down and 6. Mettenberger stands in, and that's a nice catch from Jacoby Ford, or by Jacoby Ford. And the Titans pick up 16. Okoye was also fantastic in Tecmo Bowl, if you remember.
Well, and Mettenberger coming back after taking a shot on the last play, standing in with pressure once again up in his face, and not the prettiest of pass, but the receiver makes an adjustment, catches the ball behind him, and brings it in.
See a lot of talent and potential with Mettenberger, and I'm sure they're happy with taking Mariota, but a big discussion all spring as he drops back on 1st down. Plenty of time. And fires incomplete. A big discussion around the league all spring was Kenny Wisner kept saying, you know what, we might just go with Mettenberger. We're trying to see what we have with him. they fell in love with Mariota, and we're getting a taste of why, but I think they really believe in big number 7 too.
I think they do, and you know, some of that is gamesmanship when it starts getting around the draft,
Yep.
and you know, trying to position yourself if somebody wants to move up and make a trade, and how much do you really like a player. And you know, clearly they like Marcus Mariota and what he can do and what he brings to the table, and you know, it's always good to have 2 quality quarterbacks in the National Football League, and that's why, you know, the Chiefs are so lucky to have Chase Daniel. He's proven himself the last 2 seasons to be a very valuable member, not only for Alex Smith in a backup role, but when he gets the opportunity to play, he's been very efficient.
And Chase Daniel has been as hot as any quarterback in the preseason. Not expected to play tonight. Jamel Fleming on the coverage there for the Chiefs. Yeah, talking about the Titans quarterbacks and thinking back to the first half, is Chase Daniel there going to take a rest tonight and see what he can do next week in St. Louis. The first time Mariota ran the football tonight, you looked over and you're like, wow, I didn't know he was quite that fast.
Well, you know, you see his 40, you know, during the combine and those kinds of, and you watch him play when he was at Oregon, but just to see him run, it was very smooth and very effortless, and just how quickly he was able to burst and get up to top speed.
3rd down and 10. Mariota underneath, and the extra fight from Philip Supernaw, backup tight end, out just across the 50-yard line, gains 12.
Well, going back to Mariota, it was even though he had that burst of speed, he learned quickly the type of burst of speed that the top pass rusher in the National Football League has as well, because Justin Houston was all over him, bring him not only on an earlier play, hitting him right after he threw, but then on the sack down near the goal line, being able to chase him down.
One of the Chiefs' defensive highlights, if not the defensive highlight there in that first half, the late second quarter sack. Forced the Titans to kick a field goal. Penalty marker comes out.
Ball start, 67, offense, 5-yard penalty, still first down.
"17 seconds left in the 3rd quarter. There's Justin Houston watching now after providing that highlight in the first half. And yes, the Chiefs allowed a touchdown, something they didn't do that defensively all of last week, but it was on a short field after Aaron Murray threw an interception late in that 2nd quarter. That'll bring the 3rd quarter to a close. The Chiefs continue to lead at 20-10. With the 4th quarter set to begin, we remind you Red Friday turns to Red Thursday this year, when the Chiefs host the Denver Broncos on Thursday Night Football for the regular season home opener. That's September 17th. Show your support by wearing red and picking up a Chiefs Kingdom flag at participating McDonald's. Proceeds benefit the Ronald McDonald House Charities of Kansas City. 4th quarter begins with KC on top of Tennessee 20-10. Tonight's game is brought to you by Missouri Lottery. Every ticket gives back to education. Play it forward with the Missouri Lottery. 2nd down 11 coming up for Zach Mettenberger, still in the game. Nice pocket for him to throw out of. And just a little bit underthrown, and the Chiefs defense coming through there. Marcus Cooper making that play.
And as you can see, Hunter getting behind the secondary, but Cooper doesn't give up on the play. Sticks that left arm in and knocks it away right at the end. That's good concentration on Cooper's part, reading the receiver's eyes and hands and knowing when to shove that arm up there and knock the ball away.
3rd down 11. Chiefs with 5 defensive backs in, 4 defensive linemen. And Mettenberger calls timeout, although a penalty marker came out just as.
I think he called the timeout before the delay of game.
There you go. Back right after this. One of Kansas City's premier events, the American Royal World Series of Barbecue, has a new home. Arrowhead Stadium will host the barbecue October 1st through the 4th. For more details, visit AmericanRoyal.com. Trent, you can't say Royal and World Series without mentioning the fact that the Kansas City Royals are at the best record in the American League.
Yes, what are they, up 13, 14 games in the division? So, yeah, they're putting together another outstanding season. Should be a fun run.
3rd down 11 and broken up. That's Tyvon Branch. Breaks up the pass for the 2nd time in the 2nd half.
Tyvon Branch once again in coverage.
He was covered by Tyvon Branch.
So he's trailing in coverage. Gets that arm in there and knocks it away.
Brett Kern in punt formation for Tennessee. Back team for Kansas City, Chris Conley.
Good closing speed by Branch. Conley with a nice return. Once again, a little dangerous, catching it down in there, but brings it out. Flag on the far side of the field.
There's a flag on the play.
During the kick, holding number 38 of the return team, half the distance to the goal, 1st down.
Well, before the game, Trent, I was playing recruiting coordinator on the field. I ran into a guy I've known for a while. NFL insider from ESPN, Ed Werder, kind enough to join us in the booth. Ed, it's great to sit next to you after watching you on TV for all these years and finally have a conversation with you.
It's great to come down 6 flights of stairs and actually be able to see the numbers on these guys for the first time all night.
Let's start big picture. We've been studying the Chiefs and thinking about the Chiefs for weeks here, pretty much all summer. You are also thinking the same amount about the other 31 teams. What's the national view of the Chiefs this season, this time of year?
Well, I think people are curious to see in year 3 for Andy Reid and Alex Smith whether they're going to have enough offense to compete in a division where you've got the Chargers and the Broncos scoring an awful lot of points. And I would say that based on what we've seen from his chemistry today with Jeremy Maclin, you have to be encouraged that maybe Jeremy Maclin's going to be the receiver they haven't had here in a while.
Did you think Maclin was going to be that kind of player coming here from Philadelphia?
Well, I mean, Andy Reid drafted him, and he's familiar with the system. And talking to some of the coaches on the field before the game, they were saying that even though there's system familiarity, he's had to learn a lot, that there's been a lot of evolution of this offensive system, even in the short time that Andy's been in Kansas City after being fired in Philadelphia. So and I know the coaches since Alex came here have really sort of been urging him to overcome some of his conservative instincts and try and make more big plays down the field. I don't know if they have the personnel yet to really convince him to do that. He's only been successful doing it one way, and it's this way.
Well, and after a breakout season last year by tight end Travis Kelce, how do you think that helps not only Travis Kelce, but helps the other receivers when you bring in a Maclin, you have a Jamal Charles in the background, and you start piecing those weapons together?
Well, I think they really need one of these young receivers to develop into somebody who's a really good second-level receiver, because I think Jason Avant will make the team, but it's hard to envision him as anything more than a 3 or a 4. So I think they want to see a lot from Conley tonight. I don't know if it's too late, but I think he's somebody that they think can be that guy. But he missed a lot of time with that injury, 12 practices. So whether he can do that early in the season or not remains to be seen.
Well, and Hammond Jr. just made the catch right there. He's put together a nice preseason when you look at the number of catches he's had. Obviously been very productive. Fred Williams is another player. But just your thoughts on Hammond Jr. as potentially being that guy. Obviously Albert Wilson right now is that guy, but Hammond Jr. brings a different size to that second wide receiver.
And he's a young but
yes,
veteran type of player, and I think Alex does have some trust in him. So certainly he is a prospect to do that. But I think when you start the season and you look at the receiving core, you see a guy in Maclin who maybe could be a 1. He really wasn't a 1 in Philadelphia until after Deshaun Jackson was traded or cut. Right. And then he was hurt. So I would say that's the area on this team where they've got to prove something. You've got to have some development at those positions and make some plays down the field. What happened last year, I can't imagine could ever happen again, right? Where they don't have a receiver score a single touchdown on a pass.
Right. So Kendrick West with the first down run for the Chiefs. Thinking about the AFC West now, Ed, and the Denver Broncos have won it 4 consecutive years. Who would you call the team to beat right now in that division?
I think they're still it. I think it's important for them with this coaching change, with Gary Kubiak taking over and trying to instill more of a run-first philosophy. I think they have to have success with that early in the year for Peyton Manning to really embrace that sort of approach. I think people around the league look at the Broncos and don't see a team that's got as many elite passing game weapons as they've had in previous years. And we've all seen now Manning admitting that he doesn't have feeling in his fingertips, and maybe that contributed to some of the problems he's had late in the season each year when the weather turns colder and the ball's harder to grip. But I still think the Broncos are the best team in the division. Well, they got 3 pass rushers on defense now, with Shane Ray being one of their picks to go with DeMarcus Ware and Von Miller. Right. So I think they're still the team to beat, but I think early on, Peyton Manning's going to have to see the results to be fully committed to running the football as the first option in their offense.
Aaron Murray having a nice drive, piecing it together with the help of Fred Williams, first down toss there. So if you like Denver, and why not, they've won it 4 consecutive years, who would you call the closest team to the Broncos in the AFC West?
For Kansas City
That's tough. I mean, it could be either the Chargers or the Chiefs.
Maybe the tie goes to Kansas City on this broadcast?
I think we are in Kansas City. There's not a lot of people still here tonight, but yeah, I'll go with the Chiefs.
Well, talk about let's switch to the other side of the ball, the defense. Last year they had a very productive season. They were out without DeVito, without Derek Johnson, without Eric Berry. Now all of a sudden you had a Marcus Peters. Just what's the national consensus or thought of the Kansas City defense when you consider they didn't give up a rushing touchdown till week 11. They didn't give up a 300-yard passer the entire season. Now all of a sudden you bring in some more talent on the defensive side of the ball. What's your thoughts on that side of the ball?
I think they're considered a top 5 defense in the NFL. I think there will be some questions early about how well they'll play the run without Donatari Poe, assuming I guess we don't know for sure whether he'll be back or not, but if he's back, I think he'd be extremely limited early in the year in terms of the number of plays he could give you, given he's coming off a disc injury in his back and surgery. And then they're without Sean Smith at corner for a couple games. So they'll be a little more vulnerable early than they will be later on. I think they're going to be a great defensive team.
Aaron Murray fires incomplete, almost intercepted. How concerned are you thinking about the Chiefs defense with the young corners Marcus Peters and Phillip Gaines, as you talked about Sean Smith going to be out for some time here to start the season? Do you think that'll be a problem for Kansas City?
Well, it'll be a challenge, but less of a challenge for the Chiefs and for a lot of other teams, just because of the tremendous pass rush that they can generate on a consistent basis, and maybe even more so with D Ford coming off the edge at certain times. They can put 3 or 4 pretty good rushers on the field in any situation, and I think that's more important than having great corner play.
Tremendous special teams the Kansas City Chiefs have. Dave Tobe, the special teams coordinator, did a great job in Chicago before coming over to Kansas City this offseason. He was mentioned as a head coaching candidate. What are the thoughts on him around the league, and does he have the possibility of one day becoming a head coach?
Very unusual, obviously, for special teams coaches to become head coaches. John Harbaugh has done it most recently. Frank Gans obviously did it here. So it's certainly possible, and it just all depends on what level of success Andy Reid has as to how many guys become head coaches because they were on the staff. I mean, Doug Peterson's going to be another guy who's going to get a shot somewhere if this offense does what Andy thinks it's going to do.
Doug Peterson, former NFL quarterback, and has been with Andy, started with him in Philadelphia's quality control, moved up to quarterback coach there, now as the offensive coordinator. Aaron Murray rolling out to the right, and touchdown, Fred Williams.
Aaron Murray showing some of that mobility coming off, as we've talked about several times tonight. The knee injury his senior year at Georgia, but this time rolling out to his right, getting good vision down the field, putting an accurate throw down the sideline to Fred Williams right in stride.
We talked a moment ago about Doug Peterson, the offensive coordinator. We know how involved Andy Reid is with the offense. They've got to like what they see with the persistence, the resilience from Aaron Murray after getting off to a rough start. Throwing the interception on his first drive, and he was 9 for 9 on his last drive, and then throws the touchdown toss to Fred Williams. NFL insider from ESPN, Ed Werder. Great to talk football with you, Ed. Thanks
Good
for
to talk
coming
to
by.
you guys. I'm surprised you have a guest on in the fourth quarter. Thrilling finish here. And I almost learned to stop talking when the ball was being snapped.
It's not easy to do. Aaron Murray, touchdown pass to Fred Williams, capping a drive to 10 plays, 98 yards, a little over 5 minutes off the clock. And the Chiefs extending that lead to 17 points. That's what it was early with a 17-0 lead. And now they're right back in the same spot. Frankie Hammond Jr. and Fred Williams came into this game. Preseason game number 3 as the leading receivers in the preseason for Kansas City. And adding another strong performance, both of them, tonight. This is Trey McBride. Comes out to the 22-yard line. Tackle made by Ryan Taylor. 9:20 left in the fourth quarter. Aaron Murray to Fred Williams makes it 27-10 Kansas City. Here's a look at what to watch, presented by the University of Kansas Hospital, the official healthcare provider of the Chiefs.
Well, we wanted to talk about first-team offensive consistency. You see Alex Smith leading the first-team offense, 2 touchdowns, also put up a field goal while he was in there. And next man up, the number of injuries, especially along that offensive line, 0 sacks allowed tonight for that first unit offensive line. And then the rookies stepping up. Morse doing a tremendous job, as we just mentioned, with the offensive line. Peters and Wilson with the defense.
There's your 3 quarterbacks. The top tight end for the Chiefs is Travis Kelce, and he's standing by with B.J. Kissel.
Thanks, guys. I'm down here with a guy that always seems to have a good time no matter where he is or what he's doing. But Alex Smith had said that he's noticed a difference in you this year as far as your leadership, going to him, communicating with him. How much more comfortable are you in this offense with everything in general this season?
Well, you know, that's nice of Alex to say, but it's a combination of things, man. It's one, being able to step up to the plate and being there for my team, and on the other side, being able to be there on the outside of things as just a brother to everyone. Be a friend first, and then football comes second.
Last year, coming in off the rehab, physically this year, right now, how do you feel compared to where you did a year ago at the same time?
Oh, man, it's light years ahead. Light years ahead, both myself and this team. And this team, the chemistry, how much we've built in terms of strategy and scheme and things like that. We're so far ahead of where we were last year. It's a great feeling going into it, but you still got to go out there on Sundays and put it all together.
Anybody's watched you practice, watched you play, they see the fire, the passion that you play with. Where does that come from?
Man, I love this game. I love to compete. I guess it came from the family household of just being winners, man. That's my dad always drove us to be winners. My brother never let me get the shine and stuff like that. Or we're always competing against each other when we're little. So it's just a ripple effect, man. And that's what we're doing nowadays. Just out here having fun competing.
Look at the playmakers on this offense between yourself, Jamal, DeAnthony.
Marini, baby, to the house.
Between all of yourself, guys making plays on defense right now. It seems like defenses can't account for everybody. So somebody's going to be in a position to be successful. How much fun is that for you guys to go out there and be in that situation?
It's so much fun, man. It's so much fun, especially with the kind of guys that we have in the locker room. I mean, especially on offense. Offense, we got a lot of fun guys. Heck, you just saw Freddie Williams go out there and start dancing after he scored, man. It's no matter who's in the end zone, no matter whose number is called at that point in time, we're all excited for everyone's success and just going out there and putting points on the board.
All right, Travis, we appreciate it. We're going to head to commercial.
All right, now.
Got a little rain coming down here. The 10 jersey, is that Chase Daniel or Trent Green? I'm going to say it's Trent Green, considering my company in the booth.
That's right. You never know.
I don't know if Trent moves that well. Frank Zombo with the interception as BJ was talking to Travis Kelce on the sideline. Zombo pick has Aaron Murray set up first and goal from the 8-yard line. His tailback is Darren Reeves. And Reeves, some tough running just inside the 5-yard line, picks up 4 yards. Brought down by Angelo Blackson. Frank Zombo providing the interception, and we talked at the top of the broadcast about the Chiefs' need, not only tonight, but in general, to create turnovers. They were 30th in the NFL in that category last year. And this pick has them set up first and goal.
Well, and Zombo's one of those guys that, as a veteran, is a good special teams player. He can play inside and outside. You utilize him in a number of different ways. And with the Chiefs drafting a couple of inside linebackers, he could be another good mentor that those guys can learn from.
Murray buying some extra time and then just fires it out of bounds. And that'll bring up third down and goal. And that's the key with all these guys, offense or defense strength, that are providing depth at whatever position. Are they a quality special teams player? That's kind of the difference.
Well, and this is such a young team and such a young roster. So you talk at the wide receiver position, you have a Jeremy Macklin, who's really not that old of a player, and a Jason Avant, who's been in the league 10 years. Those are for the young wide receivers. And then the offensive line, you bring in a Ben Grubbs to help with those young players. And Frank Zombo from a linebacker standpoint, along with Derek Johnson. So they have a mix of older players with young.
Well, Fred Williams has his second touchdown of this quarter.
Well, the thing that impresses me more on this one, the fact that the skies have opened up and it is just a downpour. And watch how he makes this catch with his hands. He's going to take the defender deep into the end zone, come back, and nice timing with Aaron Murray. But just watch the way he squeezes this ball with his hands. Doesn't attempt to catch it with his body, Paul.
Look from Bud Light, Hypermo. Excellent catch in the rain, and not to be overlooked, the Chiefs have converted 8 out of 10 third down conversions tonight. That one is a touchdown. Team football here, the interception coming from Frank Zombo, and moments later, there's your pick from Frank, the veteran linebacker. And then Aaron Murray to Fred Williams for the touchdown, and the Chiefs in control. Tonight's game is brought to you by DraftKings.com, the daily fantasy sports destination. Bud Light, stay in the game and drink responsibly. The Kansas City Steak Company, taste, it matters. Hy-Vee, where there's a helpful smile in every aisle. And by Missouri Lottery. Every ticket gives back to education. Play it forward with Missouri Lottery. As the Kansas City lead increases, the rain in Kansas City coming down even harder. Interesting to watch the fans. Some leave, and then others, it enhances their fun.
Well, it was right after the Frank Zombo interception. You saw several hundred people, several thousand people jump up out of their seats and start running up, and we couldn't, or at least I didn't pick up the rain right away. Now there's no mistaking because it's just a downpour. But the majority of the fans, it looks like, have gone up higher into the higher seats where they've got some overhang, keeping them somewhat dry.
Kicking off for Kansas City, Cairo Santos.
Now the Titans came back a little bit at the end of the first half, cutting the lead to 17-10. Chiefs easily back into control the second half with a strong fourth quarter. 2 touchdown passes from Aaron Murray to Fred Williams. And the lead is now 34-10. Deron Brown, 7th round pick, the receiver out of Northern Illinois. Big hit. The rain is now making its way into the booth a little bit here, Trent.
And you know what? This is a coaching point. Coaches love these kind of things because they want to see how their players react to adversity. They want to see how the players are going to handle the fact that now all of a sudden it's a wet ball. Now all of a sudden you've got to dig your cleats in the ground. You got to come off the edge. There may be some slipping going on. Ball security, whether it be from a quarterback standpoint, center quarterback exchange, defensive, securing a turnover. These are the challenges coaches want to evaluate.
How much did you hate throwing a wet ball? Like, every quarterback's different. Some will say, yeah, no big deal, and others just despised it.
It wasn't a big deal to me. It really affected me more was the wind, and I think that's pretty much every quarterback is the wind is timing with passes with the wind. A downpour like this definitely makes it a lot more difficult than if it's just a mist or maybe the ground's wet. This does make it more difficult because as much as that official wants to keep the ball dry, there's no possibility. As soon as he leaves and now the center is making his calls and it's just getting rained all over. The quarterback's like, okay, let's just get it snapped while it's still somewhat dry.
You hang on to that snap. And we saw Alex Smith a moment ago, and what a game he had. 16 out of 18. As many touchdown passes as incompletions. And any quarterback would take those kind of numbers in preseason game number 3. But the first 2 games, to his own admission, an interception in both games, 1 touchdown drive and 8 drives. So He didn't need it for his own job security, but certainly to feel good about the preseason, I think it was a needed kind of performance. And this rain is...
It's quickly come in the booth here with the wind blowing, getting all of our monitors wet and everything else. So, but you got to plugging away. It's funny, they showed Aaron Murray down on the sideline. It's like he's still in the game. He needs to get something to try and stay dry.
That'll bring up 4th down, although we do have a penalty marker down. I promise we're here.
We are here. We're just way back because, yeah.
It's the best Trenton I've ever looked, right? Yep.
Number 20, defense. Ball be placed in the spot of the foul. First down.
The rain started only about 10 minutes ago, and it's just gotten more and more heavy with each moment that's gone by. No lightning yet, obviously. We're still playing football.
Well, I'm going to have to give the Chiefs sidelines. I'm going to have to give my equipment guys a hard time because I don't really see any raincoats. Maybe the players have just decided we're not going to use them.
Hats off to the crew out there in the rain.
Yeah, is Jillian or BJ ready for a sideline hit, or are they gone? They run for cover, try and find something to stay dry.
There we go. There's an example. Yes. Everybody's prepared though. There's ponchos for the cameras.
They are professionals.
Because this will likely happen in the season as well, right? Might as well practice now.
Very real possibility.
As for the game going on underneath the downpour, David Fluell in the tailback. For the Titans as he gets out to the 32-yard line.
Well, and there's the famous Seattle-Kansas City game where it was raining much harder than this, and the steps going down to the field were literally like rivers of water pouring onto the field. Oh, BJ.
Hey guys, we're just taking shelter here in the 50-yard tunnel. It's still raining out there, so we're gonna hang out down here. Maybe try to get an interview or two.
You found a poncho though. That's good.
We did.
Alex Tanney, the quarterback for the Tennessee Titans, spent some time here with the Chiefs as a free agent. Is he looking to make an NFL roster? Look at that. It's amazing it hasn't been raining that long. It gives you an idea how hard it's been raining.
Oh, look at kickers. They're always they don't enjoy it.
It's the one group the quarterbacks can make fun of. Right?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. That's right.
Third down and 9, now inside of 5 minutes left. Good seats available on the 50, Trent. That's Chase Kaufman, the Missouri product. Wrapped up, Daniel Sorensen had a sack last week from his safety spot. Look at that.
Just the light rain. But as you said, there's still some very passionate fans that are out there. A lot have gone to the, underneath to stay protected from the rain a little bit. But yeah, there's those brave souls that are down there within the first 10 rows screaming and yelling. And should I say brave souls or crazy souls?
Dedicated.
There you go.
To the Chiefs roster building here, Trent. Taylor Luckett from the 9-yard line. Still on his feet. And out across the 30-yard line. Brought down by Damon Stafford. Is the rain letting up a little? No?
No, good try.
That was a hopeful question. They had temporarily suspended the game here. The heavy rains. Big clap of thunder moments ago, maybe anticipating the lightning, but the rain continues to come down.
The game is not over.
And the game is not over.
Walt made that clear. The game is not over, but he did see lightning, and so we are in a delay.
34-10, the Chiefs on top. They've been in control from the start. Alex Smith got off to a hot start. 3 consecutive scoring drives. He threw 2 touchdown passes tonight. Jeremy Maclin caught another one after he caught one last week. Aaron Murray has 2 touchdown passes to Fred Williams. Frank Zombo, a big interception. And it's just been Chiefs from start to finish. 3:50 left. 34-10 in a downpour. And it's not letting up. The game has been temporarily suspended. And you wonder how long that temporary will stay on front there, the suspension, with a preseason game with a 24-point difference with 3:50 left.
Well, and that's why you heard some disapproval when Walt Coleman made his announcement. It's the right thing to do. I mean, we can see lightning. You and I have been seeing lightning in the area now for a little bit. There has been a downpour, but they're going to continue playing in a downpour. It's more the lightning that's the concern. So he did the right thing from a safety standpoint, and now they're making a PA announcement to tell the fans in the stands to get out of the way just because the lightning is present.
Make your way to the concourses calmly and out of the elements.
I can't imagine either one of the coaches would lobby to continue the game at this point.
Yeah, you wouldn't think so. I was involved in a couple of preseason games that got called because of weather. Number one, from a health and a risk standpoint. Number two, coming back out in these kind of conditions after you sit around and you're cold for a while. You can see the announcement that's put on the video boards for the stands, or the fans that are in the stands, to be sure to take cover. So yeah, both coaches, they understand why this is going on, but they also don't want their players to go in and sit around for 30, 40, an hour, and then all of a sudden have to come back out to finish a 3 minutes and 50 seconds. And as you mentioned, Paul, 24-point game in a preseason game. So I have been a part of a preseason game in the past where they've called it because of the conditions.
Chiefs and the Titans, preseason game number 3. It's 34-10. 3:50 left in the game. Has been temporarily suspended. Heavy rains and now some lightning moving into the area. We'll see about the next move here for this game. In the meantime, as a sneak peek of a new Chiefs Kingdom episode that will air later this season, let's now take a look at the career of brand new Hall of Fame inductee, Transformer teammate Will Shields. There was pretty heavy lightning for a while and all kinds of downpour, and this game has been temporarily suspended, and we all wait to see what happens next year, if the game will continue or if they will in fact call it. Paul Burmeister, Trent Green, we are still here in the booth. There we are. We just watched your former teammate, the feature on Will Shields, and your former GM, Carl Peterson, said perfect football player. I knew he was a great football player in the Hall of Fame, but to be called perfect by a former NFL GM, that's pretty high praise.
Well, you consider all that he did in his career. 12 consecutive Pro Bowls, which ties for the most in NFL history. He never missed a game.
Wow.
Played every game, started every game but his first game. When you talk about his off the field, I think that's what Carl was referring to as well, is not only his play on the field, but the way he led his life off the field. And so when you talk about that perfect player, with the way he approached practice, the way he approached preparation in the offseason and in season, the way he was a good teammate and helped develop young players and help them learn the different systems, the way that he had success in different systems. He talked about, in that video, he talked about the success that he had with Marty Schottenheimer and that philosophy, and then adjusting and having success in the Dick Vermeil philosophy. So you take all those things into consideration, and that's really why Carl said what he said, and I back him up on that.
And his reaction, we just saw, they had kind of a behind-the-scenes look of when he got in. He goes, I'm in. So part of being that perfect professional athlete, he was probably pretty steady like that through the good and the bad too, right?
You know, it's funny during the whole Hall of Fame process, and as you're talking to different media members around the country, and as you're doing videos like that, you know, people want to, hey, tell me an exciting story about Will, and tell me something that nobody knows. I said, Will is Will, and he showed up to work every day. He approached every day the same, whether it was practice or it was a walkthrough or it was a game or whatever it was. He was just so steady. You knew what you were getting day in and day out, and he was going to be a pro day in and day out, and that's what made him so special. Is there wasn't any glamour and glitz and flash and everything else. I'm just going to show up every day and work, and that's why he was so good for so long.
You're getting kind of used to that August trip to Canton, are you? So you were there for Willie Rofe.
I was, yes.
Just there for Will, and pretty soon Tony Gonzalez is going to be in too.
Yes, it's a heck of a group of guys you're talking about right there. So it was a special group, and it was fun to watch that video and see Will talk about the mentality that we had as an offense, that every time we went on the field, we weren't happy settling for a field goal. We definitely weren't happy settling for a punt. We wanted to get out there, and we thought every play could work. We thought every time we got on the field we were going to score, and that was really our mentality. And when you have a huddle of guys like that, that's your belief system, that's why that offense was so explosive and so productive for the number of years that we were.
Well, tonight, while they were playing football, and it was dry most of the night until late in the fourth quarter, both the offense and the defense for the Chiefs playing very, very well. Let's take a first look at the defense and what the first teamers accomplished tonight.
Well, I just got done talking about how well, we played as a group when Will and I were on the field, and just looking at the way the defense, this first defense, just getting after the quarterback there. You and I both commented on Mariota and his speed, but Justin Houston takes away that speed because he can duplicate it. Getting Macklin involved once again, getting another touchdown pass from Alex Smith. Alex squeezing in his second touchdown of the first half to Travis Kelce. Charkandrick West getting more and more opportunities because of the success he's had in the preseason, taking in the 2-point conversion.
As you can see there, it's just kind of a little bit of a sprinkle now. It's almost come completely to a stop, but this game temporarily hasn't been canceled yet.
Hasn't been canceled, delayed, yes.
It's a temporary delay.
And I'm not sure what the NFL rules are for a lightning delay. I don't know if there's a mandatory amount of time that they have to delay. Once lightning is seen, if it has to be 15 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever that may be, before they ultimately either come back out and play or if they decide to ultimately call the game.
As it now stands, temporary delay, and the Chiefs on top 34-10, 3:50 left. There's Chiefs general manager John Dorsey. Looks like he's, well, thought he was coming back to the field, but no, he's not. We just saw the feature on Will Shields. Last week we had Will in the booth. How about another one of Trent's teammates from those exciting Chiefs offenses in the early 2000s? Time now to take a look back at the career of Chiefs Hall of Famer. Let's switch to running back now and look at Priest Holmes. Has been officially canceled. 34-10 will be your final. Back to put a wrap on it at Arrowhead right after this.